Hey guys, this is Alan from Quinkry Tropicals, and in today's episode I'm going to show you how to plant a Pendle palm in the ground. Pendle palms are also called jelly palms because a lot of people use the fruit for jellies, jams, and all kinds of stuff. If you're looking for a fruiting palm, I highly recommend the Pendle, especially in areas where it gets colder in the winter time. Anytime you plant anything in the ground, guys, there are a few questions you need to ask yourself. The first one is, when is the best time to plant a Pendle palm? Now, Pendle palms, just like any other type of plant, grow mainly when the temperatures at night are warm. So usually you want to plant it in the ground as soon as your night temperatures are about 50 degrees every single night consistently, and expect it to go higher in the next month or so. In most parts of the US, that is going to be sometime in the spring all the way through late March. Why do you want to put your tree or your palm in the ground during those times? Well, you want to put it in the ground because that is usually the time when they wake up for the season and they start growing. You don't want to plant it too late in the season because usually this palm right here will take at least one full calendar year in the ground, depending on your temperatures, to fully root itself in the ground. A plant that is in a container will never be as strong as one that is fully rooted in the ground. So that is the main reason why you want to plant it earlier in the season, so that way it has some roots in the soil before the winter hits. Now let's talk about the sun, guys. How much sun does this plant need? This plant needs full sun anywhere in the US, guys. I live in Arizona, which is in the desert. And here our temperatures, right now my temperature is, I think it's maybe 110 degrees. It is May 11th, and in this spot right here it's about 110, and that is mainly because of all the concrete radiating heat. And this area of my yard gets full sun all day. Now the sun is no problem, guys. This palm will take full sun anywhere. If it takes full sun here, it will take full sun in your area. Can it grow in the shade? Yes, it can grow in the shade, guys, but the plant needs sun for energy. So if you don't give it enough sun, it's not gonna grow as fast as it will in the sun. Now let's talk about the winter protection, guys, and that is the main feature about this palm. This one in the winter time, I have tested it personally down to 19 degrees. 19 degrees has been the lowest temperature it has ever gotten here in my property, and that was about 2 years ago. And I have little guys, tiny little guys in 4-inch pots at the time they were growing, and they were underneath my pine trees and they took it just fine. Ambient temperature 19 degrees. Obviously frost will damage the smaller plants, so the minimum you can do if you have smaller plants is to frost protect them. All you gotta do is throw a sheet over them, prevent the plant from getting wet and the water freezing on the plant, and you are good to go. Now as the palms get rooted in the ground, which remember will take at least one full year in the ground, it will become stronger, so it will even tolerate frost. And how much, I'm not really sure, guys. Personally, I know it can handle it down to 19 degrees. If you get colder than that in your area, if your soil freezes in your area, at that point then you probably need to test it before you put it in the ground, or if you want to go through the winter without any protection, because I'm not sure, it may die. Textbook answer I read everywhere online, it says zone A, but zone A, the temperature change ratio, it's huge, guys. So I mean, I don't know how low they can take. So usually I use a textbook answer as a guide to start with. Never 100%, because usually it's hardly ever accurate. But I know for sure 19 degrees, guys. So if you want to grow this in Arizona, you won't have any problems here. It doesn't get 19 degrees every single winter. And if you have a bigger plant like this, you shouldn't have any problems during the winter time. The palm itself, it will grow. The biggest one I've seen personally, it's about 14 feet or so, and that was like, you know, like a really old one. So usually, you know, plants are just like you and I. Some of them will get a little taller, some of them are gonna get stay shorter, but generally you're looking at about between 10 and 20 feet. So make sure you put it in an area where you know it will eventually grow and you have enough space for it. The fronds, they're gonna get wide too, guys. They can easily expand at least 10 feet or so. So the area that I'm planting it in, it's in front of my house, in this spot right here. Now I know eventually it's gonna outgrow this area and the fronds are gonna grow into my house, which is right behind you. I'm just gonna keep pruning the fronds, and then eventually it'll grow taller than my house and it'll be fine. I like the looks of it. It's a nice looking palm, and it will also give me fruit. So I like to put stuff in the ground that will actually, you know, pay for itself eventually. I don't want to water something that just, you know, looks nice. So anyways guys, so that is the planting requirements for this plant. So if you see me plant anything in the past, you know that I like to dig a hole, and I don't like digging holes actually. How big of a hole do you need to dig? Well guys, that depends on your drainage. So if you have good drainage, if your soil drains the water within 24 hours, then all you need guys is to dig a hole just bigger than the plant, and you are good to go. Now obviously if your soil lacks drainage, you want to dig a bigger hole, and you want to go deeper too, to assure drainage, because drainage is key. What type of soil amendments do you need guys? That depends on your soil as well. This area, I used to have a big a plumeria in here. It was one of the first trees that I ever put in the ground. But back then I was not smart, so I put it here in full sun. I did not winter protect it, and guess what happened to it? It died. So, but you know, back in the day, many years ago, I was crazy about soil amendments. So anything that I saw online, people told me to buy that was gonna make my plant grow faster, I bought it. So I spent about $70 in this area in soil amendments, buying everything that I could buy, because back then I thought the more you buy, the faster your plant will grow and the higher your chances of being successful, which is completely wrong. So this whole area has all kinds of craziness in there, but the main thing that it has guys is compost. So I've been watering the general area over the past few years. I didn't put anything in the ground because I didn't know what to put in the ground, but now we know exactly what we want. So I'm not gonna amend the soil. This soil is rich in organic material. It doesn't need anything else. So all I did, it drains the water very quickly too, just within a few hours. Most of this area right here was backfilled back in the day when they built the house over 20 years ago. And mainly they used sand, they compacted it down. So this area here drains the water very quickly. So let me pull this out and show you exactly what the hole looks like to see how big it is. And then I'm gonna go ahead, take the palm out. I'm gonna plant it in the ground and show you exactly how I plant most of my trees in the ground, which is nothing special. If you watch my videos in the past, you know exactly how I plant my trees, and it's nothing special. So let me go ahead and get started. So this palm right here, it has been in that container, I would say easily for the past 4 to 5 years. Now, a lot of people will tell you, you can grow this in a container. And yes, you can. But usually container growing is not efficient, because the root system of this plant is very vigorous. It will outgrow whatever container you put it in very quickly. And it's extremely hard to get them to fruit in the container, because there's no container out there big enough to support this plant. Unless you get one of those massive containers, and then you know you want to wait many years for the plant to actually grow. So yes, can you grow this in a container? Yes you can, but fruiting is not that efficient. Now this plant right here in front of you is about 4 to 5 years in the container. That's a 15-gallon container. Now is it gonna fruit in that container? No, because it's not even full size guys, and it's not gonna reach full size in that container. A 25-gallon, it's not gonna be big enough either. A 45-gallon, not big enough. Maybe a 65-gallon, 100-gallon container, probably. But then how are you gonna move that plant, guys? It's just gonna be way too heavy, and then it's just not efficient. So I don't recommend growing this in a container indefinitely, unless you're just trying to grow the plant so you can, you know, plant it in the future. But indefinitely, not recommended. So let me show you the hole real quick. I already dug the hole right here, guys. And then you can see the soil is moist. You can see it has a lot of black stuff in there. When I was digging the hole, it was full of worms, roly-polies, all kinds of craziness in there. So it's rich in organic material and rich in life too, which is the main thing that you look for in a soil. And this hole drains the water in a matter of just a few hours because of, you know, it was backfilled back in the day. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, I'm gonna take that palm and then I'm gonna pull it out of the container and then I'm gonna plant it in the ground. So when planting in the ground, guys, you gotta make sure that you keep the same level right here with the level of your soil. You want to keep it level, or you want to put it maybe an inch or 2 inches above grade, because this will settle down eventually, and then as it settles, it will level out with the soil. You don't want to plant it too deep, especially in areas where it rains a lot, because then the water will pull around the trunk, and then if it stays wet for too long, it's going to rot, guys. So yes, you want to plant a level or just a few inches higher. So let me go ahead and do that right now. If you're gonna pull your plant out of the container, you want to make sure that the root system of your plant is not sensitive. I learned that the hard way. I'll make another video about it if you want to hear about it. But I killed a $3,500 extremely rare plant just by doing what you're seeing right now. Because later I found out that that plant has one of the most sensitive root system out of all the plants that we have here at the nursery. Nobody told me that, guys. I did not learn that on YouTube or Google, because there's hardly any information about that tree. Just so that you know, it's a vexeter or a false Capitata. And yeah, I learned that just by making mistakes so that you don't have to. But anyways, these guys right here, their roots are not sensitive at all. You can kick it around, you can do whatever you want to it, and unless you completely rip it apart, the plant is not going to die. Now, let's talk about the root system real quick. The root system of this plant, I'm not sure if you can see it well or not. It has a few anchoring roots, which is this thicker roots. But most of the roots that you're gonna have, guys, let me show you. Most of the roots that you're gonna have, if you wanna make videos, guys, do not buy a GoPro. These cameras are just not good. But anyways, let me see if you can see. The root system right here, most of the roots are going to be very tiny, and then you're going to have a few anchoring roots which go deep in the soil just to anchor the plant into the soil. But most of the roots are going to be like this, and anytime you see roots like that, guys, that means you need to water frequently. So also you want to make sure you don't have any water pipes under, because that may become a problem, or a sewer pipe. That may become a problem in the future. So, but anyways, now the plant's out of the container, so the next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna put it in the hole, guys. It's that easy. There's really not much to it, and then you gotta make sure your plant is fully rooted before you do this, because if it's not and you pull it, you may rip a lot of the roots out, especially on a smaller plant that is not fully rooted in the ground. Now, the first thing you want to do is you're going to put it in the ground, you're going to level it, and that seems to be about the right spot right there. Now, this is not a typical plant where it has a trunk with bark, and then you want to worry about which side the sun is going to hit, because it looks the same all the way around. And it has leaves or fronds all the way around that are gonna shade the main trunk anyway. So for this one, it's not really a requirement which way you want the actual plant face to face. So east, west, it doesn't matter. It takes full sun anywhere in the US anyway, so for those types of plants, it doesn't matter, guys. Anyways, so it's in the hole now. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my dirt, which is the same dirt that I dug out. It's been sitting in the sun, so it's dry. But I'm gonna water this as soon as I get done. So I got my dirt right here, and then I'm just gonna dump it back in the hole, guys. Now I have some weed clothing here. Don't pay attention to that. That's just to prevent the weeds. That's nothing that pertains to this plant specifically. So what I did, I just cut a hole, and then big enough just to plant the palm in the ground. Now the next thing I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna put dirt all the way around the root ball, and then you want to do a few inches. Then you want to get in there and you want to compact it down. So this is the last layer right here, guys. So what you want to do is compact it down like that all the way around. You can step on it if you want. And then we are done, guys. And that is exactly how you are going to plant a Pendle in the ground. I want it to look semi-nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the mulch back around the area so it covers everything just like that.